For years, the automotive industry operated under a comforting assumption. Neural networks were seen as universal math. The equations that govern perception, planning, and control don't change just because you cross a border. This gave rise to the build once, deploy everywhere business model. You train a system to detect pedestrians in California, push an over-the-air update, and expect that exact same software to safely operate vehicles in Berlin and Beijing. To a national regulator, an AI model is a matter of legal liability, citizen safety, and geopolitical leverage. As vehicle software evolved from recommending music on your dashboard to physically steering a 2-ton machine at highway speeds, it was on a direct collision course with international law. That illusion of borderless code finally broke. Automakers learned quickly that no matter how sophisticated the software, it cannot outrun local jurisdiction. Between 2026 and 2027, global AI regulation definitively fractured into 3 distinct, legally incompatible regimes. In August 2026, the European Union began enforcing its AI Act. Europe took a strict, preemptive stance, classifying nearly all automotive AI, from driver assistance to quality control, as high risk. To deploy a vehicle in the EU, manufacturers now have to produce extensive technical documentation, implement rigid human oversight mechanisms, and pass rigorous bias testing before a single car hits the road. The United States moved in the opposite direction. Under NHTSA leadership, the federal government adopted a deregulatory posture. The U.S. strategy intentionally strips away design barriers to accelerate deployment. Rather than relying on preemptive bureaucracy, the American approach leans on the court system, allowing litigation to settle liability after the technology is already on the streets. Then there is China. Driven by the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology's 2027 mandate, the Chinese framework bypasses broad guidelines in favor of prescriptive, hardware-based engineering rules. Chinese law requires vehicles to carry specific autonomous driving data recording systems, essentially a black box, and mandates strict handoff protocols for mass-market Level 3 autonomy. The result is a structural roadblock. It is now legally impossible to develop a single autonomous driving system and deploy it globally. The underlying math has to change the moment the tires cross a border. As these laws took effect, the shockwaves traveled straight into the organizational charts of global automakers. Historically, compliance was siloed by function, engineering, legal, and quality departments operating independently globally. That collapsed. Automakers must now organize by geography: EU, US, and China. Each region requires a redundant team spanning all 3 functions, multiplying overhead and timelines. The friction extends directly to the data layer. Connected vehicle monetization models that operate freely in the US and China run straight into strict GDPR privacy roadblocks in Europe, cutting off major revenue streams. Even simple dealership software is caught in the crossfire. An AI customer service agent operating in Texas has entirely different transparency requirements than the exact same piece of code running in a showroom in Germany. Compliance transformed from a final checkpoint on the assembly line into a core expense that forces automakers to maintain 3 separate versions of the same car. So how do you engineer a cohesive product when the law demands 3 completely different realities? Early movers like Volvo Autonomous Solutions integrated governance directly into their software engineering, treating regulatory parameters as a hard design constraint. The solution emerged as modular AI architecture. A baseline neural network acts as the foundation. For Europe, engineers plug in a human oversight module. For China, a hardware black box module. The core code remains intact, adapting the compliance layer to local laws. By the end of 2026, AI governance became an enterprise-wide design discipline, as essential to production as the chassis or the battery. But writing legally compliant code is only half the battle. These heavily governed, pristine systems are about to be unleashed into the unpredictable, messy reality of human infrastructure at scale, and the physical world doesn't care about the rulebook.